The Survivor. If you ask my wife what Mayol is, her answer is simple. It's the idea that's in her husband's head. I am Mayol, and I'm also the founder of Mayol. Mayol isn't the only one who understands the issue we have discussed. You already know most of them. The ones you didn't know, you now know. Let's be honest. Am I boring you in any way? Because I sense a mild undercurrent of dismissive cynicism. If that is the case, let's be brutally honest with each other. Your survival is your responsibility. Your loved one's survival is your responsibility. Nobody is going to go out of their way to save you and your loved ones. If you think somebody out there in a nice office is sitting and working his ass to save you from this, please snap out of your illusion. Anybody who clearly understands the seriousness of this threat and has the power to do something about it is only making sure they and their loved ones make it in the 2 out of the 10. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, starting with not taking this issue seriously. And no lone wolf survives this storm, that's for sure. Only the pack will endure. We have made it so far because we work together. We face problems as a community and overcome them. You need to have this community. Be in it. Take part in it to survive. For you to survive, your community has to survive. And for your community to survive, it needs to be a lean, mean, problem-solving machine. Unfortunately, that's not what we are right now. We are far from it. In fact, we are the problem most of the time. But a community that succeeds in minimizing politics, promotes rational and logical thinking, acts on problems and solves them fast, and understands the seriousness of this issue has the best chance of surviving. These requirements are very critical, but at the same time, impossible to achieve. Mayol app has been developed specifically to ease this issue and work on it. It's designed around 3 key features: walk alone, goods marketplace, and services marketplace. Walk Alone is a social media platform built with a multi-page interface. Posting, commenting, and likes are based on anonymity. The pages are divided into neighborhoods, constituent blocks, state, and country. Any new post has to be submitted in the neighborhood page. In the neighborhood page, all users from your neighborhood can view, like, dislike, comment on your post. The views, likes, dislikes count for each post is tracked. Post that receives more like than dislike after being viewed by a certain percentage of the page member is promoted to the next level. And the same process repeats. More popular a post becomes, more exposure it is given. This creates a mechanism in which ideas can be put up anonymously and people can weigh on it without bias. And this can be done for millions of ideas in millions of communities. It is direct, unbiased, real-time democracy. Ideas that reach and become popular in the world level will be the collective thoughts of humanity. It will be humanity becoming a single entity with clear collective intentions. In the conversations that we will have in this platform, any consensus on a solution will always comprise of a combination of goods and services. The goods and services marketplace being integrated in the same app will allow interlinking of consensus solution to the actual project, tracking its progress, cost, real time. My mother asked me, "Whose idea is this Mayol app? Doesn't seem like yours." Being honest, it's a construct of personal experience and inspiration. Wakhalon is the Manipuri word for the thought of the time. It is a tribute to Zeitgeist, the movie, which shaped me on my journey of self-actualization. Zeitgeist also translating as a thought of the time in Germany. The Venus Project and Zeitgeist are the two movies that led to the foundation of Mayol. I saw myself in Jacques Fresco, the man behind Venus Project. There is a part in Venus Project movie where he talks about charged particle propulsion vehicle. I thought of that when I was a kid. Yeah, I was a weird kid. Interested in science, always took about toys to see how they worked, made new machines out of different salvage parts. I must have electrocuted myself 10-20 times doing my experiments when I was a kid. An event when I was a kid set me up on this trajectory of life leading to foundation of Mayol. It was the start of 6th grade residential school. Our class was missing the teacher and we were making a ruckus, throwing chalks and paper, shouting, having the time of our lives. I was doing my part too, earning my spot in the class hall of fame, throwing paper planes, a ball pen refill fuselage, paper winged and tailed paper plane to be precise. And then we got busted. Our class teacher came in and took us all to task. She asked who made the ball pen refill plane. I confessed to my crimes. Fast forward a few months, my father came to visit. My class teacher told him about the incident, but to my surprise, it wasn't a scolding. She told my father to take me out of the school and admit me to a better one. My plane making skills had taken her aback, and she saw something in me that she thought was precious and wanted to groom it best way possible. By the way, if you want to make great flying ball pen refill planes, fix the tail first and find the spot where the body balances, and fix the paper wing there and watch it fly. Infinite energy. Once your community becomes a rational, cohesive unit, you will start asking the right questions and prioritize the right issues. You will then realize that local solutions based on recycling resources is the only way forward. Before we got married, while we were still dating, I took my wife to a riverbank. No, not for a romantic date, but to collect water sample. Polluted water sample. I was experimenting on algae oil production using polluted water, trying to recycle water for production of energy. But the experiment was a failure. I was not able to grow algae in quantity significant enough. I had a problem of fly larvae infestation in the culture. As I kept conducting these experiments, I came to observe that this fly issue was not there during winter, and algae growth seemed to improve during cold weather. I started searching on cooling down large volumes of water, any prior applications anywhere. I found out that there is such a case. It was in nuclear power plants. To cool the reactor, chilled water was circulated around it. This water absorbed the nuclear energy in the form of heat from the reactor core and transferred it to a steam boiler. To my surprise, I found out that the steam that generates electricity in nuclear power plants is not created directly by the reactor. The water circulating around the reactor only transfers it to another system, which ultimately boils the steam for the turbines. This new information lit up a bulb in my brain. The sun is also a nuclear reactor, and it also generates heat. There is nothing stopping us from doing the same process with the sun as the reactor. The only difference is that instead of the reactor water, the fluid in sun's case is the ambient air. And so began Mayol's ambient energy engine mission. The solution to our energy reduction threat is not a magical new source of energy, but a new way of using energy. A civilizational transition from non-renewable to recycled energy, not just renewable energy. Recycling energy truly brings out the real character of energy, its abundance and infinity. We don't need more energy, we need the technology to recycle energy. The scope of this mission is to develop an engine that uses heat in the ambient air as its fuel and generate electricity. We call it the ambient energy engine. A generator actually does not generate energy because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. A generator only transforms one energy to another. An energy crisis is a construct of our own technological inability. When we use energy for something, after its purpose has been served, it does not cease to exist. It is transformed as heat in the ambient air. The ambient energy engine is a machine that runs on this heat. It is made up of two components, the heat collector and the heat transformer. The heat collector is a pump similar to the ones you have in your home AC or refrigerator. It collects heat from ambient air and dumps it onto the heat transformer. The heat transformer is a Stirling engine. It converts the heat dumped by the heat collector into mechanical energy. This mechanical energy can then be converted to other forms of energy more convenient for us. Practically, this machine will be the size of a petrol or diesel generator and highly portable. When it is turned on, it will generate electricity without needing any fuel, making electricity out of thin air. The only noticeable effect of this machine will be the cooling of the air around it, as if an air conditioner is turned on in the room. So, how does it work? Like the AC running in your room, the heat pump in ambient energy engine consumes energy to run. It absorbs heat from the air in the room and cools the air. This absorbed heat is pumped to the radiator placed outside in case of an AC or to the heat transformer in case of ambient energy engine. Here, for a heat pump consuming 1000 watts, we usually get around 4000 watts of heat energy dumped. 1000 watts that was consumed and 3000 watts absorbed from the air in the room. A heat pump is the only machine that releases more energy than it consumes. The efficiency of a modern internal combustion engine is around 20%. Some steam turbine generators running on fossil fuel can achieve 60% efficiency. Let's say the Stirling engine in our ambient energy engine is optimized and delivers an efficiency of 30%. It will be able to generate 1200 watts of usable energy. Suppose we reuse 1000 watts from this to power the heat pump. This gives us a net balance of 200 watts. As this is not a negative value, it generates more energy than it consumes to run, without breaking any laws of physics. The catch here is the efficiency of the Stirling engine. It has to cross 30% for this engine to be viable. Difficult to achieve, but not impossible. Mayol needs the success of Mayol app and significant revenue generation from it to fund research and development of the ambient energy engine. Improving efficiency of an engine beyond 30% is not a cheap research and development project. This video is also a part of the campaign to make Mayol app successful. It is the main call to action we are pushing for. The Time Traveler. Our rational, cohesive community now has access to abundant and infinite energy. Yet, there is something missing. So, I'm in my new school. It's a day boarding. Memories of Kargil War are still fresh in our minds. English class, we're having a debate, science versus culture. Our class toppers are advocating science, but our English teacher is trying to convince them culture is more important. The climax of the debate arrives. The argument: without science and technology, we cannot protect ourselves from our enemies. We would have been defeated in the war. A logical and valid point, to which our teacher could not counter. The conclusion of the debate was imminent. It was a clear win for science and a loss of culture. In this moment, something inside me stirred up. I could not agree to this. I raised my hand and put forth my counter-argument. I asked my friend, "We need science and technology to protect ourselves from our enemy, right?" He said, "Right." So, what is it that we are trying to protect? Isn't it our culture? If we don't have this culture, what are we going to protect? A movie was playing, and watching it, something similar stirs up in me. I dismissed it as a glitch in me, but the same thing happens again, seeing another movie. It was not the movie. It was the person in it. The state of the mind of the person. The kind of aura it was letting off. It was as if an argument was being made in the mind. There is nothing good in this world. This argument was gaining ground, cementing itself in the psyche like an undisputed law of the universe. I felt as if I had to do something about it. Doing nothing was torturing me from the inside. But there was nothing I could do. I was just a kid. Unless I could travel back in time and change things. So I started designing a time machine based on a simple idea. If an object moves at a high enough velocity, it travels forward in time. Unfortunately, I wanted to go back in time. So, moving fast was not an option. Mass and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The universe must somehow want to keep this equilibrium this way. So, if an object moves forward in time, something else must move back in time. to maintain the equilibrium of the universe across time. The time machine I designed was a particle accelerator similar to that in CERN. It would accelerate a particle to very high velocity for very long time, so as to induce an imbalance in the energy-mass equilibrium of the universe and open a portal to the past. But I wasn't crazy. I knew I could not pull it off in a lifetime, so I had to live very long, 300 years at least. I had to find a solution to this lifespan issue. January 2000, Scientific American Frontier, Season 10, Episode 3, Never Say Die, gave me the answer. The telomerase enzyme. I had to engineer bacteria to produce the enzyme, distill it, inject it, and tase myself with low voltage electric current. This would reverse aging and allow me to live for 300 years or more. As silly as it sounds now, saying it was not a joke for me then. It was my life's purpose. I was so into it. It was becoming odd. I could sense it. I was already weird, and now this really put my weirdness on steroids. I was starting to feel insecure in this world. Puberty was kicking in, and my friends were making crushes left, right, and center. On the other hand, I was preoccupied with my time machine. I had reached a point where they were starting to question my orientation towards the opposite sex. To avert a grave misassumption in this department, I needed an alibi, a diversion. I had to come up with a crush on somebody. I searched hard through my memory for faint hints of admiration that could be passed on as a crush. Fortunately, I remembered someone. She was from the other section. But to my astonishment, it backfired on me. My reputation took a beating instead. I got obliterated. I was laughed at for my poor choice. I was at a loss. I had no idea what was going on, but I had to find out. Turned out she was being made fun of by almost everyone. Now, I had to take a closer look at who this person was. And in a moment of enlightenment, everything became clear to me. She had the same look the person in the movie had, for which I was obsessed on going back to the past. I could see the same argument taking place in her mind, that there is nothing good in this world. Her family, like thousands of others, were driven out from Srinagar, refugees in their own country. I remembered seeing in bewilderment lines of trucks fleeing with cupboards, bed and belongings going opposite us in Srinagar where my father was posted. It was clearly evident the argument was gaining ground in her mind, cementing itself in the psyche like an undisputed law of the universe, so early in life. My actual purpose revealed itself. It was for this that I was preparing. I was here as the counter-argument. That was my job. To be the good in this world she had started to dismiss as something that does not exist. And I did my job. It was flawless. but it came at a heavy price on me. And in the aftermath, I started questioning myself, the purpose of it all. I could not get the answer from myself. So I started putting up this question beyond me. I imagined an entity and put forth this question. I imagined an answer given to me by it. It was a test to see if I can be entrusted with a more ambitious project. And I had passed the test. But this time, I laid out my terms of service. I wasn't going to work for free. In return for doing the task I am entrusted with, I wanted to have love, true and pure. My love and belonging needs fulfilled. And so, we had a deal, and the path to the foundation of Mayol was set. Down this journey, I met my wife. And she gave me her heart, and I became whole again. For the next 20 years, I kept a track of new developments in telomerase technology. Tel Aviv University and Shamir Medical Center in Israel pioneered hyperbaric oxygen treatments that can reverse the aging process in healthy aging adults. A much more comfortable process than tasing with electric current. Mayol has started hyperbaric oxygen treatments for aging adults above 65 years. And we are seeing strong signs of health improvements and reverse aging as a result of the treatment. Mayol app, ambient energy engine, and reverse aging treatment is the solution envisioned by Mayol. Our rational, cohesive community that now has abundant and infinite energy needs a heart and a soul. People need to live long, healthy, and strong life to bring out the good in us. It takes true strength from within to be good and do good. We have to live long enough so that our actions affect ourselves and not just the next generation. So that we as a civilization are compelled to change our very nature from an existence of resource exploitation to a one of resource conservation. This workshop ends with a call for donation. Mayol is an idea that is in my head. I am selling this idea to you. That's what the donation is. If you buy it, you own it. I am Mayol is not me saying it. It's you saying it, owning it, becoming the bearer of the idea. You know where the world is headed towards. You can clearly see it. There is a convincingly strong argument taking place in everyone's mind. And it is saying, there is nothing good in this world. This argument is gaining ground, cementing itself in the psyche like an undisputed truth of the universe. I am the counter argument. I am the good in this world. I am Mayol.